What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Biggie the Great One. Hope you guys are doing great, feeling great, and just living good lives. Came here to talk to you guys. This is literally a download I got 5, 10 seconds ago, but I came to talk about a temporal shift in your awareness. A temporal shift in your awareness. I feel like I'm going through one right now. So, an explanation would be that everything is happening simultaneously. You may not see it, but everything is happening simultaneously. For example, people who take acid or psychedelics, I have partaken in those things. Not recently, but I have had those experiences. But one visual aspect of psychedelics is that it shows you the simultaneousness of reality, that everything happens all at once. And that would be when people see tracers. So if I'm obviously moving my hand to gesture the idea of tracers. So it would be like you see the hand. It's like, it's as if I move my hand, but you see hundreds of my hand at the same time in the movement. So that is to say that us being us being luminous beings, astral beings, some would say gods. I would also concur with that, but not in the sense of being the well, we are omniscient, but in the sense of there being only one creator, as if like I am the creator. I'm God, but I'm not the creator, if that makes sense. I'm not here to debate that. You can debate it in the comments if you will. Leave a like, subscribe. But what I'm getting at is that us being who we are and understanding that, you realize that your physical body is still connected to your higher self, your highest vibrational self. And as you begin to go further into your own spiritual practices, those tracers, let's just out, you know, those tracers that trace us back to our higher self, we begin to become more aware of it as we progress and walk down our spiritual path. That is to say that our consciousness is returning slowly. And as we become aware of these things, we also become aware of this dissonance between the ego and the super consciousness. That's what I'll call it. The super consciousness will be the term I use for the higher self, just to make it make it uh make sense. But yeah, so the ego, which we're all rooted in from the beginning of our time in this, the ego is taught to us, and we're everything we do in society is building upon the ego and strengthening the ego. But in actuality, what you really want to do is break the ego down. And as you do that, you reach certain stages where your awareness of your own super consciousness, your base consciousness, and your ego, you become aware of these different states of being within your own awareness, right? Hope you're not losing me here, but you do become aware of these things, and at some point you will start to realize that the ego is always seeking to protect itself. And what the download I just recently got was that my ego, our ego, the ego, is always seeking to stay in the land of comfortability, in La La Land, right? And as you slowly start to break down the ego, you become aware of the tug of war between the ego pulling your consciousness back to it and your higher self, your super consciousness pulling your awareness, consciousness, waking mind to the higher realms. Now, the manifestation of that through thought and mind is feeling as though you're I guess you're multiple people, you're fragmenting in a way. Like, let's say you're starting to pull yourself out of your comfort zone because you know that it's not getting you anywhere. True, you're gonna start to take steps and plan it out, do what you got to do in order to reach that new higher level that you would like to be in, because your comfort zone is no longer fulfilling you spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, however that comfort zone manifests itself in your reality. You realize that it is not feeding you positively. So what you will do is attempt to rewire, change the path. But the ego is comfortable with that that set that set way of living. So as you begin to change, you will feel as though you're going crazy in some sort of way, but it's an internal battle, internal struggle. So it feels like you're going crazy, but in truth, you have to realize and come to accept that it's your higher self really pulling your consciousness up in vibration. And what's funny for the ego is that as that happens, the ego also begins to raise in vibration. But that's not what the ego wants to do. The ego wants to stay in its set vibration, whatever's comfortable for it. So you're gonna feel as though your thoughts are devolving, that you're repeating the same things, but the fact that you are even conscious of the fact that you could be repeating these things and that you are, and that it's more of a struggle, means that you're more aware of the tricks and loops and negative feedback that your ego goes through in order to keep you where you are, if that makes sense. So all of this is to say that you are on the right path always. It's just that it doesn't feel that way because the ego is always filtering it. It's always filtering it to make it so that it that you pick up on it and decide for yourself, you know what, maybe I shouldn't change my ways. And the ego will say, yes, that's what I wanted, because the ego, it's still you. That's the thing. It's still you. It's not like it's some outside force. It can be influenced by outside forces, but it's still you. I don't want to take too long with this video, but it's a flow. This is the flow. So the ego is not necessarily the enemy. The ego is, I guess the ego shows the higher self how the enemy wants you to think, how the enemy wants you to operate. So once you build your awareness of the ego and its tricks and its machinations, then you can break it down and allow it to return to source. Once you do that, you have, well, you've ascended in some in some way. So I hope you guys can do what you want with what I just said, and I hope that it, helps you in any kind of a way. And yeah, you guys be safe, stay great, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.